This is TARDIS, our time and space machine. Off we go.
Something terrible happened here.
Exterminate them!
What are we going to do?
Fight them!
Yes, they're back, the Daleks on 4K, Doctor Who and the Daleks, the classic Aru Productions 1965 Peter Cushing starring version of Doctor Who is coming your way on 4K. World of stuff. Yeah, today a special video reviewing the upcoming 4K release of Doctor Who and the Daleks starring Peter Cushing from 1965. I've got a special affinity for this film. It is, considering I have a fairly large film collection, which that is just part of, and I am a bit of a film aficionado, I suppose. I have a strange bond with Doctor Who and the Daleks and its sequel, Daleks Invasion of Earth, and probably, with no irony at all, probably they're the films I've watched the most over the years. I saw them in the cinema originally because, yes, I'm that old. I've seen them on TV countless times. I've picked them up on the various physical media appearances, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and I dare say I will pick up these 4K releases in due course, but at the moment I don't have to, because I've received the check disc, the review disc of the upcoming release of Doctor Who and the Daleks, the first of those two movies. The news broke last month, I think it was, that Studio Canal had done a remastering job on these films. It's actually more than just remastering. And the first one has arrived for me to have a look at this week. You know, one of the benefits of working for a long-running science fiction magazine is you do get little freebies now and again. And this is one I was quite keen to see, so I was quite pleased when this turned up this week. It was quite timely because it's not been a good week for various personal reasons that I won't go into here. So a chance to reacquaint myself with an old favourite from my youth was very welcome, shall we say. And I sat down and enjoyed watching this film on, I think it was Tuesday morning when it arrived. And it just took me right back. It is a massive nostalgia fix, and that's something I talk about a lot on this channel, how I reconnect with my youth as I'm getting older with comics and old films and TV and things. There's a massive appeal in looking back. And as I said, because I've got this affinity for these films, I sort of look back on them with particular pleasure and particular affection. I remember seeing this film, Doctor Who and the Daleks, back in 1965 when it was released. I would have been about 6, and I was on holiday in Torquay, and I went to see this with my brother in the now long demolished ABC cinema in Torquay. We used to go down to Torquay and Devon quite a lot for holidays when I was a kid, and even into being an adult. It's still a place that I can go to and get fond memories from. And I remember quite vividly seeing this film. Now, this calls into question for me exactly what my awareness was of Doctor Who at the time. I don't recall watching Doctor Who back in those very early days. My first real proper memory of Doctor Who is 1966 with Patrick Troughton arriving. And I sort of remember that quite clearly because I had measles at the time. It was bonfire night and I was a huge firework fan. And I can remember being very upset that I couldn't go out and watch my father letting off the fireworks. So I do remember sort of being indoors and seeing Doctor Who on. So clearly I was aware of Doctor Who and I knew Doctor Who. Whether I was just taken to see this film because it was like a family or children's adventure film, or whether it was the fact that I already knew of the Daleks and the series from TV, I just don't know. And my mind doesn't take me back that far. But I do have those quite vivid memories of seeing in that cinema. And that's why the film is something that I sort of go back to now and again, because it's 80 minutes of a rip-roaring adventure. Now, I'm not going to get into all the canonicity of it, because obviously it's not part of the Doctor Who universe as we know it on TV, and I do think fans get themselves wound up, oh don't they just, about any little thing, about trying to fit these Doctor Who films into the canon, and when they can't they get very annoyed and angry and they rage that it isn't Doctor Who. That's not the point really, they're just good fun. These are just good fun adventure films that I think have stood the test of time very well, considering that they're very cheap films. I think they were made in budgets of about £250,000, which sounds like a lot, but of course even then it wasn't a massive amount to make a big budget science fiction feature film. It's very much low budget, I suppose it's low brow, but they're unashamed, unpretentious children's adventure films based on the Doctor Who serials, of course, Doctor Who, the Daleks, or the Dead Planet, whatever you want to call it, and the Dalek Invasion of Earth in 1964, retooled for an international audience and a cinema audience, because it takes away the idea of the Doctor as we know him on television and turns him into an eccentric scientist played by Peter Cushing in his best doddery professor mode, with young Roberta Tovey as his granddaughter Susie, rather than the slightly more enigmatic Susan played by Caroline Ford on TV. Barbara is here his granddaughter rather than an inquisitive teacher. Here she's played by Jenny Linden. And Ian, another inquisitive teacher from the TV series, is now recast as sort of comedy foil, if you like, by the very popular Roy Castle. So what we've got is this straightforward adventure film where Doctor Who has created a TARDIS, which for some reason looks like a police box, with this ramshackle control room, and by an act of clumsiness by Ian, who's come to visit Barbara, his girlfriend, they accidentally set off on a strange adventure to a strange, mysterious, blasted planet where the Daleks are in the process of wiping out the peace-loving Thals who live in the petrified forest. It's a richly colourful film. It's, looking at it now, and I'll talk again in a moment about how this looks on 4K, but it's such a colourful, imaginative film, and it takes the very best of Terry Nation's 7-part TV serial, boils it down into this fast-paced 80-minute film, which really doesn't pause. For the moment they get on the planet, things start happening. You meet the Daleks, which of course we see in colour for the first time. And of course, we're on TV, there were only ever, at this particular stage, 4 props. Here we see great serried ranks of Daleks, and there's that wonderful scene, there's a wonderful photograph. And you sort of think, wow, look at all these Daleks. It was sort of unimaginable at the time. And the Doctor soon becomes involved in helping the Thals save themselves from being wiped out by the vicious Daleks who want to detonate a neutron bomb which will kill all living things but leave the planet itself untouched. It's, as it was in 1963, it's a sort of a cautionary tale about the perils of nuclear warfare and atomic devastation and things, but obviously done in a family-friendly manner. But it's just so entertaining, so colourful, and just a lot of fun. So, the 4K itself, is it worth your time? You, like me, as I said, you pick it up in all these different formats. I've got a very nice box set up there somewhere with the recent 4K Blu-ray releases. Is it worth an upgrade? I would say yes, absolutely, because here the picture quality and the sound quality are pretty stunning. Now, I'm not particularly a technical expert in these sorts of things. I mean, I've got a fairly decent 4K TV, Philips 4K TV, about 60 inches. I've got a, I haven't got a massive sound system. I've just got a split sound bar, but it sounded and looked great to me. Now, what they've done with this, they've gone back to the original film negatives that the film was actually filmed on. They've gone really back to the source, and there's a little feature on the Blu-ray which explains the technicalities. It's a sort of a dry featurette, but I think if you're interested in these things, you will find it fascinating. How they corrected all the little scratches on the film and tidied it up and brightened it here and there very discreetly where necessary. And it is said that the picture quality here is 6 times sharper than the Blu-ray, and I think it probably is. It just absolutely pops. It really does leap out. It just looks as if it was made yesterday. It's the cliche that it looks like that. It looks absolutely stunning. The colours are rich, vibrant. The clarity is really astonishing, even by 4K standards. This just looks, wow, incredible. The sound has been remixed, I think, it's been touched up by Mark Ayres, who does a lot of work on the classic Doctor Who's, to sound superb as well. The soundscape is terrific. It's just a brilliant presentation of a cherished and cherishable film. Can't recommend it highly enough. Whether you choose to get it or not, obviously it's entirely up to you. It's available on quite a lavish new box set with posters and photographs and art cards and badges and all these bits and pieces that you get, the bits and pieces of collectible ephemera. I think it's £40 for that particular set. Whether you want to buy that or not, it's entirely up to you. There's also, I think, a cheaper version available, which is a 2-disc set. I believe it's a 2-disc set, which just has the set itself. I'll put up pictures here and there of those various sets you can pick up. But I think if you're a purist, you're going to get these. Like I said, I've got them already. I've got the check disc, which is set. Of course, that doesn't include all the bits and pieces. So I dare say at some point I will pick up these sets. But if you do have a fondness for these films, they've never looked better. Certainly, I haven't seen Dalek Invasion of Earth yet. I will do another video when I receive my review disc of that. But yeah, I think that they've done these films proud. It's the ultimate presentation of these films. I can't imagine them ever looking better than this. If you want to know what else is on the disc, incidentally, 2 new featurettes. There's the Restoring Doctor Who 4K, which I mentioned. It's also a nice 17-minute feature, I think. It's called The Dalek Legacy, Destination Skaro, directed by Marcus Hearn, which has sort of visual sound bites from people just long time fans of these films, explaining why they like them so much. You've got Mike Tucker, who used to work for the BBC visual effects range. You've got Robert Shearman, who wrote the Dalek story in 2005, and of course Nicholas Briggs was the voice of the Daleks. They talk about their love and affection for these films. You've also got Emily Cook, who writes for Doctor Who magazine, who's of the younger generation, and she's slightly less connected to the films, and she's talking about viewing them from a modern perspective, how they're so different from Doctor Who that it's sort of hard to make the jump that they are Doctor Who. You've also got all the other features that have been available elsewhere. There's an audio commentary from Kim Newman, Robert Shearman and Mark Gatiss that I think has only been available on an American previous Blu-ray release. Commentary with Jenny Linden and Roberta Tovey, which has been around for years. There's the Dalek Mania documentary from about 1995, which looks at the history of the films. I mean, dated in many ways now, because obviously it's nearly 30 years old, but it's nice as a history of the films. Interview with Gareth Owen, who I think was involved with remastering the Blu-ray releases. Trailers, stills, galleries, all those bits and pieces that have been on previous releases have been ported over, but with these 2 nice new features. So it's a very nice presentation of this film. That's pretty much all I can say. I wish I could go into more technical details about how the restoration was done, but that's all available in various other places. But as I said, they've gone back to the original negatives, tidied it up incredibly well, improved, boosted the sound, and it really looks fantastic. So if you want to pick it up, it's available. It's coming out on physical media and streaming and all that sort of caper. June the 20th, if you want to see it on the big screen, there's a double bill in cinemas from the 10th of July. I don't know what cinemas it's going to be in. If it's in a cinema near me, I'm going to go and see them because, you know, I just like these films. So Doctor Who and the Daleks is out June the 20th, and Daleks Invasion of Earth, which there will be a review up of in due course, is out on the 18th of July. And there's a special preview at the BFI on the 19th of June in London if you're so minded to chase that up. Right, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this little video. There will be more to come. I'm seeing Top Gun Maverick today, Thursday, so I'll get a video up for that fairly soon. As I mentioned, there's not regular stuff coming up on this channel anymore, but there will be odds and sods as and when. So until I see you next time, don't forget what they say, which is, yep, keep taking the stuff.